both sides of the ball, and it doesn't matter who plays or doesn't. They very clearly have an identity offensively. They have an identity defensively. I think their level of individual pride defensively stands out when you watch them. Elite shot making all over the court, and they're a really good team. They obviously have some high-end players, but they show humility individually every night in terms of their ability to play as a group. I think it's the best team in the NBA.
Well, I know you were here for a short time, but just kind of noticing some of the similarities between the two organizations, having worked here and now getting started out there. A lot of crossover, Jaden coming over, Svi coming over. If you kind of notice some similarities between the two organizations as you've gotten into your time there?
I mean, I think both organizations are aligned from the top. I think for any organization to have a chance to be successful, you have to have, alignment from leadership all the way down through the players. And I think that's what stands out to me in Utah in my first 2.5 years is that, we're growing as a team. We're at a different point in our arc than maybe the Celtics are right now, but there's a ton of conviction and alignment at the top. I think that Ryan's leadership stands out every day. You guys obviously know Danny very well. Danny and Justin do a really good job of, guiding us every day through this process. So I think those are where the similarities are, but right now we're young and we're developing and growing. And so it's about just continuing to improve every single day. I know that, maybe the semantics may be different for us than for them right now, but I've felt a very similar tone to when I was here.
And with Jaden, is that a guy you kind of have your eyes on when Boston trades him and he becomes available? What has he brought to the team so far, and what are you kind of expecting out of him?
I think when he's been available, he's given us some disruption on the defensive side of the ball. We need better perimeter defense. We need players that not only understand the scheme, but also have some instinct and aggression to go make a play at different times on that side of the ball. And I think Jaden's done that when he's been healthy.
A lot of the young players lately have had some higher usage rates due to just people being sitting out, injuries and things of that sort. So when you look at tonight and trying to get them back into the flow with a different rotation again, how do you hope that they attack that? Like even guys like Flip, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think it is going to be an adjustment because there's been a lot of minutes available. That obviously leads to things like way more shots. But I think right now it's a good moment for our young players to be able to settle back into some of those roles. I do think that playing above your level or above your role is sustainable for a short amount of time. And I do feel like in certain moments lately we have had some fatigue, not just physically, but some of like the mental and emotional fatigue that comes with playing heavy minutes and having heavy responsibility. It's good for the young players to feel that and to go through that because they understand what it's going to take to have the role they want long term. But I think for their success and to kind of keep them in a good headspace, they do need to settle back into the roles that they're probably ready for in this moment.
This season been like for you?
What's the season been like for me? It's been great. We've got a really good group of young players that are hungry and energetic. So getting to work with them and try to help them navigate the early parts of their career has been fun. It's not just the X's and O's part, but just kind of the life of being a young NBA player and the ups and the downs and the emotional swings that come along the way. I love our staff. We've got a a young, energetic staff. We've got some faces on the staff that some of you know very well. Their energy that they bring to the court every day and to teaching our young players every day is inspiring for me and fun to be around. Like, I love coming to work every day. I think we've got a really bright future. I think we've got the right people in the building. And so I think that our environment is something that I enjoy going to every day. And that's the part that I'm most focused on is while we're going through this developmental phase, my biggest responsibility, our biggest responsibility as a staff is to manage the environment so that the players have the best opportunity to grow.
The other night, JJ Redick brought up that Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown each had 25 shots apiece while talking about how well they executed certain things defensively. Other coaches have tried to make those guys into scorers too. How difficult of a decision is it between, sending help and leaving the three-point arc against these guys, and then knowing that if you don't send enough help that they could beat you on their own?
Yeah, there's not a lot of good choices. I think especially in a regular season game, one game, anything can happen. And so if it was a series, maybe you'd feel differently about playing something out a little bit longer and hoping that the stats kind of come back to where they should be. Because there's nights where you could get tricked either way. You could send help and they shoot it great, and you're like, man, we shouldn't have helped, or we could help with everybody tonight, and for whatever reason they could have a night where they miss 43s. Doesn't mean it was necessarily the right choice. Playing a team like the Celtics is it's taxing in that way, because in one regular season game it can feel bad because of how disciplined they are, the level of shot making that they have. Jayson and Jaylen are two really hard players to game plan for on their own. You have them both out there, it's a bigger problem, and you haven't even started talking about Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek White. I mean, all the other guys on the team that really make it run. So it's hard. It's about maintaining some emotional discipline when you play them, because the results don't always necessarily mean that you made a bad choice, because sometimes there aren't good choices.
How hard it's been for you as a coach? Every coach wants to win every game, so you know that you are developing a group of young people. How do you feel as a coach and with the results?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first part you said is the truth. Like, I know that I'm developing young people and young players. Doesn't mean that I don't have my moments where you have some doubt creep in, because you're like, man, that game felt ugly. Like, what could I have done differently? Did I message that correctly? But I think that's my responsibility in this moment, is to, while I'm coaching them and while I'm trying to help the young players grow, I have to be critical of myself too. Like, this is an opportunity for me to continue to grow as a coach, and I can't let my brain only get wrapped up in the result. Like, I need to continue to try to find ways that I can improve my communication, my teaching, understanding how to manage a game. While we're going through this, I tell our players all the time, like, I'm in this with them. I'm not a critic. I'm a young head coach that's trying to learn and develop just like they are. So we're human beings and we're all very competitive, and so there are nights where the result does bother you, but it's about, can we let that emotion pass through us quickly? It's not that we shouldn't feel that. If losing goes numb on us, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
So we need to feel the pain or the frustration of losing, but we just can't let it linger very long. That's where the perspective can help us about where we are in this moment in time and what we can do to continue to improve.
What has Svi brought to the team this year? Obviously fresh off a championship. What has he kind of brought to you guys?
Svi drinks more Starbucks than any person I've ever met. but he's it's the first thing that pops in my head. He's such a smart player. He's very competitive. He's a good teammate. I think his experience after being in this environment is really helpful for our young players, because Svi has seen and felt where we want to go. And our young players are very receptive when Svi talks, because of the work he puts in. Like, he's there every day, walking the walk. And so I think while he can be quiet in certain moments, he has the respect of our locker room, and he's got the respect of the coaching staff. His role varies a lot. He can go 5 games without playing, and then he starts. And I think that his professionalism shows up in those moments, and it's not just how he plays, but I think it's a really good example for the rest of the young players, that just because in a certain moment you're not getting what you want, you have to continue to prepare to play, and prepare like you're going to play 35 minutes. And Svi does that every day. Like, he models really, really good behavior for our young players.
Watching the team play has been really fun, and there is a lot of movement, a lot of new sets every 10 games or every 6 months, I don't know. But where does all this idea come from? Because sometimes it looks like NCAA, sometimes it looks like Europe, but it doesn't look like NBA basketball. So where do you come up with all these ideas?
It's all those places. I'm a basketball sicko like the rest of us. I think there's a lot to be learned from other leagues around the world. I think my experience being with Team USA and being in FIBA opened my eyes to that in a big way. I got to work with Ettore Messina in San Antonio for a long time, and he led me in that direction as well. But it's not just me. It's our staff, our video room. Those guys watch more than anybody, our assistant coaches, and you see things, people send you things, and you watch. It's not always you take the whole of it. Sometimes there's a little piece of an offensive set that you're like, I like that concept. How can we weave that into something maybe we're already doing? And our team has been really receptive to trying new things. So it's a combination of all those things coming together that makes it possible. The staff deserves a ton of credit, but the players do also, because there's some days where we come out at a practice and we put something in, and you can kind of see them looking at each other like, okay, this is not what we expected today, but we're all in it together, and they're letting us be experimental in some of those moments.
Thank you.